Okay, so now we're gonna watch a video that Daisy did. Daisy's gonna talk about the video a few minutes, and then after the video, we're gonna start the panel discussion. Okay.
Hola, buenas tardes. Glatzo Kamati, thank you for this space. My name is Dr. Daisy Bulgarin. I studied medicine in Cuba. And although I've studied all over, I've learned the most from our indigenous communities, abuelos like an abuelito, and the children in our communities, and women in resistance particularly. Currently, I've been working in human rights, connecting to a lot of movement going on in Mexico. You might have heard that 2 years ago, they disappeared 43 students, the students of Ayotzinapa. In this case, every level of the state, of the government, was involved in disappearing 43 innocent students. When this happens, the mainstream media blames it on the cartel. As Mexicans, we know that the most dangerous cartel is the cartel of the president of Mexico, is the government. But we were having a lot of trouble, both as activists and as artists, to get the narrative correct, to say that esto fue un crimen del Estado. It was a state. So during this time, 2 years ago, we had the highest number of journalists killed in Mexico. We had activists that were being disappeared and killed. We really had to come together to be more creative than the oppressor and think of different ways to tell the story of Ayotzinapa and also connect our movements in the US and in Mexico, because when Ayotzinapa happened, Eric Garner happened. And Black Lives Matter movement was going on. So we were marching in the streets of Mexico, we were doing the same in the US. So we were able to create a dance film. This genre of art is very, ¿cómo se dice? Bougie, you know? It's como classical ballet. It's never been used really for this form of resistance. And that is why we wanted to do this. In some of the scenes that you'll see, we incorporate classical ballet. We literally took inspiration from some famous dance films and turned it into something different that really spoke to what was going on in Mexico and in the US with police brutality. We also wanted to honor indigenous danza, mexica danza. As a danzante and as a former professional dancer, it was really important for me. You couldn't really make a dance film about Mexico without showing our native danza. So a lot of the danzantes from New York City, these are all community folks, immigrant folks, jornaleros, trabajadores, came together to write the storyline and to make this dance film with us. We also connected with the parents of the 43 students. We connected with students. We connected with people who were there that night. We went to the school. We brought back an interview talking about basically what happened that night, and we were able to embed all of this in the sound, and hopefully you'll be able to hear some of that. The Garner family also gave us permission to use the voice of Eric Garner, so you'll hear that as well. And so this is the first multi-genre dance film to feature indigenous danza and to really spread awareness, not just on what people call the human rights crisis in Mexico, which is actually a genocide against our indigenous people, our people of color, but also highlight the role that the US plays in all of this as the #1 exporter of weapons to Mexico. We wanted our call to action that was sort of voted upon collectively with community both in Mexico and in the US was an end to Plan Merida. So we really launched this campaign through this dance film that eventually did get on NBC, did get on BBC, and got on a lot of mainstream media, both in English and in Spanish, because people thought it was, like you used the word V9, a dance film, a pretty dance film. Of course, as soon as the Mexican government saw what we said in the beginning, which is disappeared by the Mexican government, they were trying to flag it and they were trying to take it down. And we got hacked and a lot of other things happened. So there's a lot of resistance from that side, but I think that really meant to us that we were doing something right, and it really shed light on Plan Merida. And a year later, I was part of the effort at the Indigenous Peoples Forum of presenting the case of Ayotzinapa at the UN in front of the rapporteur with the parents of Ayotzinapa, with the evidence that yes, this was a state crime, and that the last place the students were located, according to their cell phones, was the 27th Battalion Army Base in Guerrero. This is still an open case. We continue to put pressure at the Commission of Human Rights. One of the parents, Mr. Antonio Tizapa, lives in New York. If you guys can check out Running for Ayotzinapa and why he runs marathons to spread awareness. Some of you met him on Sunday. So even that's a creative way of protesting in form of solidarity. So I hope that you guys enjoy this film and
saludamos y pedimos permiso a nuestra madrecita la tierra, la de espalda de jade, la de espalda de serpiente, la que nos proporciona el sustento y algún día abrirá sus cauces como una gran cipatli para entregarnos a la naturaleza con armonía. ¡Atecocoti!
Trataron de enterrarnos.
They tried to bury us.
No vamos a descansar hasta encontrarlos. Ser estudiante, conocer la educación, conocer los libros. Ese fue el único delirio de los muchachos.
Entonces, ¿qué onda? Y tenemos información de que
Durante la balacera, la federal se encontraba haciendo retenes y andaba en los contornos de la ciudad de Iguala.
Put your hand behind your back. I can't breathe. 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 Pero no es Iguala, no es Guerrero, es todo el país que estamos hartos de la violencia, de los secuestros, de las extorsiones, de los presidentes municipales. Slaughtered 23,000. It's a slaughterhouse, and it's
José Francisco García, padre de Andrés Alonso, porque los niños no son el niño número 1, el niño número 49, el niño número 70. Los niños tienen nombre y apellido. Percent of the people convicted there never see a judge. 93% of the people convicted there never see an arrest warrant. 92% of the people convicted there are convicted with no physical evidence. We'll skip that they're all tortured. There are essentially no jury trials. This is not a justice system. It's a murder system. You're processed like sausage. We're, quote, going to reform it. What we've done is what we've done historically. We've gotten on the wrong side. We're not siding with the Mexican people. We're siding with the people that own the country and terrorize them.
No sabían que éramos semillas.
They didn't know we were seeds.
So this was a really intense time, but as a doctor, I always say that, we carry a lot of trauma in our bodies, not just the trauma that we're dealing with in the times that we're living now, especially with con el fascismo, con Trump, but the trauma that we carry with us from our ancestors. So dancing is extremely healing. So the model of our collective semillas is to really combine strategy, organizing strategy, with healing and art. And I think that this is an example of that.